Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with veteran jazz saxophonist T.K. Blue. He discussed his latest 2017 CD project called Amour and how it's a homage to France and the continuation of his very rich jazz story. He talked about the album along with much, much more, so please dig this interview, my friends. Before we get into your latest album, thank you for sending it over to me. I appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
I want to know what you're doing right now to promote this album.
I'm doing a couple of gigs, different places. I had a bunch of stuff, pre-CD release stuff in New York and the New Jersey area back in February and March, and also Baltimore. When the record came out, I've been doing a bunch of things in New York, and I just got back from North Carolina, did a concert there. Going to be in Detroit for 4 nights doing CD stuff from the CD at the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe, and I go to Philly. I'll be at Chris's. So I'm doing a couple of things around town in the States to promote it, and then I have some stuff coming up in July as well, and in August.
The one thing that struck me about this album, Amour, is that it's kind of a homage to your time that you spent in France.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, with everything that's been kind of going on with the American political climate, with things that have happened with the Accord, their election cycle, has there been an extra pang of sweetness or bittersweetness that's gone into releasing this album in regards to your time in Paris?
Yeah, not at all. In fact, more so now than ever because of all of the negativity that France has experienced within the last year or so with terrorism and the murders and stuff. In fact, one of those clubs, the Bataclan, I played at when I was living there. So that was one of the places where they, murdered some people. So it was more important for me to do this now to one, make homage and give my appreciation and thanks to the wonderful people of France and Paris that helped me along my journey when I lived there, and two, to help them in their healing process of what they're going through with all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, and three, as an artist, for me, I find it incumbent to try to propel the opposite force on this planet that counteracts the negativity and the evil forces that exist. And we can call it different names, we can call it from different sources, but anything that's talking about killing people, innocent people, or killing in general, is just contradictory to my being, to what I believe in, because I'm a man of peace, and I feel that we're one family, the human family, and we have to learn how to live together, and we have to come together as a family, and music is a great vehicle for that. So as an artist, that's my vibe, is to try to bring the contradictory forces against these negative forces that exist, and have music, sharing, giving, family, brotherhood, sisterhood, all of that, all of the good, the romance, all of the wonderful, beautiful feelings that are here and that should be propelled to the forefront. And hopefully this can help on a cosmic level change the way people feel, change the way people think, and realize that we're all really just one, and we're all trying to get the same thing. We all want to have happiness. We want to have security for our children, our family, and good health care, education. All of the stuff. Everybody wants to have a nice home. It's normal. Now, going on in that process is the powers that be across the planet have to realize that we have to have a better distribution of wealth. Because if people have good things for themselves and for their family, decent living conditions and food and health care and things like that, then they won't be prone to blow themselves up or try to hurt people or whatever. People have, but a lot of these scenarios on the planet, you check out, and not condoning it by no means, but when you check out a lot of the sources, you see people that are coming from situations that are they're desperate. there's no opportunity, no hope left. They're in environments that are very chaotic. So somehow, if we can find a way to distribute the wealth of this planet, so everybody has an equal opportunity, an equal chance to have a decent life. Things might change, and if we can, as artists, through our art, whether it's music, dance, painting, whatever, we can show that there are better things that we can achieve and a better reality than what we see before us, a higher reality of universal love and universal brotherhood that we can bring us all together. And maybe we can bring about a change, and not just amongst people, even dealing with the planet. Everybody talk about, the ignorant folks in Washington. Oh, there's no climate change. Climate, it's a hocus pocus, but it's real. And so we have to find a way we can not just deal with each other on a human level, but also deal with the planet on a human level and try to, so that we'll have a decent planet for our children and their children and their children to inherit. So I think that's what all of this, we with the crutches of the music I'm trying to do, is just trying to, bring that kind of positive force. And like even the recording, besides being dedicated to Paris, dedicated to memory of my mom, and again, that's, to me, is really dedicated to the memory of all of our mothers, all of our matriarchs, of all of our families, because they're the backbone, and so often they're not acknowledged. And I'm a firm believer, quite honestly, that we would be in a better position if we had more female leaders in the world as a whole. Sometimes men are prone to want to fight all the time, man. Testosterone,
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's the whole thing. So like when I wrote things for my mom, it's kind of like it's her, but it's a universal word. And my mom, the ideals that I'm just speaking of, because she was when she retired, she went into Tai Chi, studying Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, all of the healing arts, and she taught these, and she gave of herself tirelessly in senior citizen centers and different community centers, often teaching for free, helping seniors. When she passed, I had so many people who testified. Your mom helped me when I was ill. She came to visit me. She gave me medicine. She gave me vitamins. She gave me herbs. She didn't even charge me. So that it's all one and the same. So that's the whole the foundation to this recording, Amour. That kind of vibe. And when I moved to Paris, a lot of people opened their arms and helped me tremendously. And I wouldn't have been able to have been successful over there and survived had I not had help. So that's a way of me giving thanks with this music and making the dedication to France and to the wonderful people of France.
The one thing about this album is, again, it's another evolutionary jazz step for you in releasing material to the world in your music. What sound were you going for with this album? What was your focal point?
I'm not quite sure what you mean with sound, because I wasn't really thinking in terms of a sound as more than, I guess, painting a picture, telling a story. For me, because the digital booklet actually explains each song, what its relationship is with my living in France and why I chose that song. So every song has a relationship of me being in Europe. First tune, for example, Banlieue Blue. Banlieue means suburb. Of course, Blue, my nickname, TK Blue. But I lived in the suburb in Paris towards the end of my stay there, and they had a festival in Paris called Banlieue Blues, plural, and it was bringing music and culture to the suburbs. Most of the stuff was always centered in the heart of Paris. So they wanted to bring stuff to the suburbs so people who don't get an opportunity to go into the city to hear great music. So they had a festival, and predominantly they had jazz. I played at that festival many times with different people. And so that was like that song. Infant Eyes, I got the chance to see Wayne and hang out with Wayne many times when he performed there. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I had a chance to see him, and also to hang on the set when they were doing Around Midnight back in the 80s, when it was in a movie with Dexter, and you know, Wayne is on the soundtrack, and I've recorded other songs of Wayne, so he's been a big influence for me. So that's why I chose to use that song. Regent Memoir, of course, is my reflections of various places and arrondissements that I lived in Paris. So every tune, you know, La Petite Fleur, I used to get requests. Every time I played from French folks in the audience, "Oh, monsieur, please, s'il vous plaît, est-ce que tu peux jouer La Petite Fleur? Can you please play?" Because Sidney Bechet was the big star in France.
Yeah.
They had statues erected for him, and he was huge. I didn't realize how big he was, so I was over there, and especially the older generation always talked about him, and so they always asked me to play this song, and I didn't know it at the time, and I would always feel bad saying, "No, I'm sorry, je suis désolé, je ne comprends pas, I don't understand, I don't know the song." And then eventually I got some music, and I was just waiting for someone to ask me. I was ready to go. I was locked and loaded, you know. And sure enough, a lady came up to me and asked for it, and I said, "No, no problem, just for you." And I played it. She had tears in her eyes. So that was one reason behind that tune, you know. So Elvin Elpis, that's a Melba Listen tune. I had a chance to do many tours in the 80s when I lived in Paris with Randy Weston, and we played a lot of Melba's arrangements. And I got very close to know Melba, especially coming back and forth. I'd come to New York, go to her house in Harlem, and had a chance to hang out with her and talk with her and go through boxes of music, finding all these great arrangements that she did for so many incredible folks. So, you know, Resolution, John Coltrane tune. My first solo concert ever was in Paris, and it was at a school where I was teaching jazz called the IACP music school. It was run by Alan Silver, the bass player who worked with Cecil Taylor and other folks. He was the director of that school, and at the time, some of the teachers were featured in concerts, and I chose to do a solo concert. And the first half was music of John Coltrane, and the second half was music of Monk. I did it all solo saxophone, so that was why I chose to put that song on. Single Tear of Remembrance, Requiem for a Loved One. These are songs dedicated memory of my mom, who spent a lot of time with me in Paris. She came to visit me quite often. In fact, at one point, she came to visit me in the south of France. I was working in Cannes for 6 months at a club called the Ragtime. And she loved it so much down there, she decided to stay. I thought for an extra week or so, she wanted to stay for an entire year, living in the south of France, in a little town called Roquebrune, overlooking Monaco. So, like I mentioned, every song on this recording has this relationship and experience that's very visceral in my memory of living in Paris. So that was more my goal, as opposed to a sound. Was more my goal is to tell a story of why I chose to put those songs on there.
Beautiful. I think that gives me a perfect overview of the album and the story that you're weaving together. TK, thank you again for sending over the music. Thanks for taking a minute out for me.
My pleasure, Joe, and thank you so much.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to yet another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York, KC, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And as always, thanks to TK for his class, his time, and his music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.